When we talk about trying to diagnose someone with NPD or trying to talk about the criteria required to diagnose someone with NPD, there's no differences in what a clinician is looking for when it comes to men and women. However, how women with covert NPD or narcissistic personality disorder, how she chooses to execute her tactics will be slightly different from the male counterparts. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video specifically. If you're a man watching, continue watching, okay? What are the specific tactics that a female covert narcissist may use in order to control you in her everyday life? What are the tactics that she'll use in her romantic partner? So, if you're wondering whether or not you're dating a calculated master manipulator, or is she just a little bit insecure with the needs to control a little bit more than the other women that you've dated, please know that this is what I want to talk about in today's video. There is a difference between a woman seeking to overrule you from day one versus a woman who's a little bit insecure. I get it, it's annoying, and has a need to control when she's in pain or when she's dealing with conflicts or when she's stressed out, right? If you're a heterosexual male wondering whether or not she's just a crazy master manipulator or she's just a little bit insecure and in pain, continue watching because this video is going to be a really important one for you to learn and get answers from. Hi everyone, I'm Christy. I'm a therapist and a relationship coach specifically for men. If you're old here, welcome back. Welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. Please do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. Obviously, it helps with the algorithm, but it mostly helps me with being able to continue providing free value for all of you guys, because it's really important that men are taught the tools, the techniques, the signs, the important rule books behind how to prevent unhealthy relationships from continuing to happen, and what you can do in order to optimize your relationship with the woman that you really care about and how to close the gap between you and her. So please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about it, because men need to learn this stuff, or else we're suffering in a world where a lot of times women are talking and you're not. Right? So, okay, before I start talking about the signs that you should be looking out for, I want to put a huge disclaimer out there specifically that this video is not a replacement for any professional services or advices out there. However, my intention is to provide more knowledge and educational value so that you know how to do things on your own. My dog is right here. So yes, it's educational value. It's not a replacement of any professional services, and you're not really supposed to diagnose her because you're not a psychologist, right? But I'm just trying to give more value out there for you guys, okay? As a practitioner, obviously my worst fear is to be spreading misinformation. So to all of you men out there listening, this video isn't going to be me simply listing out the common conflicts in relationships that happen and that most couples go through, and what as a practitioner I hear a lot when I'm just talking to one person of the entire unit. But again, I'm not trying to invalidate or reject any of your experiences. Again, to all of you, do as you choose with the information that I give you, but please be fair and truthful with your own scenario and your own subjective life and relationship, okay? So it's not me listing out that rejection and stonewalling and crossing each other's boundaries and having little fights here and there, right? Or huge fights or huge blow-ups or a sexless marriage. Those are not going to be things I'm going to be talking about. Honestly, what those videos generally do is it takes away your power as a man to isolate whether or not the relationship is fixable or not, and is she truly doing this on purpose, or she's completely to blame, or is there something that can generally be done about the relationship to close the gap between you and her a little bit more, right? So before I start listing out all of the signs that you should be looking out for, I need you to focus on checkpoint number 1. If you pass checkpoint number 1, then all of the signs that I'm about to list out will be extremely scary, and it'll be a huge red flag for you to look out for. And please do me a favor and reach out for help, or at least put some action to some changes, because you're in a very unhealthy situation. Okay, so checkpoint number 1 is specifically that with 100% confidence, you know that her behaviors from day 1 of being in a committed relationship with you, no situationships, please, full verbal contract of commitment is shared and was to exploit you for her full personal gain and complete disregard of your well-being as a human being, okay? Whether it's positive or negative, she doesn't care. Obviously, if it's positive, she doesn't care. If it's negative, she doesn't care. Okay? So simply put, if you're in a committed relationship, every single one of her actions afterwards was with the intention of using you for her own personal gain, whether the effects of the behaviors mean putting you in a tremendous emotional pain or turmoil or not. It's never been her concern or a function of her decision making with anything that she chooses to say and do. If you pass this checkpoint right here with confidence, right? That's a very scary place to be, and I want you to continue listening. Sign number 1, love bombing. Okay, so essentially the female covert narcissist will be really, really vulnerable with you from the beginning, from day 1. And day 1 means after potentially near commitment or at commitment stage, okay? Not talking about early stages of non-committed relationships, okay? Because honestly, we love bomb each other all of the time in the early stages of dating, and it's kind of unfair. So after commitment, she's extremely vulnerable with you. She may use sex, so she'll be extremely sexualized with you. Sex is amazing from early stages of you guys dating. She'll use beauty to entice you, tell you all of her secrets and traumas right off the bat, and tell you specifically this: I've never told anyone this before. And after she's essentially garnered your sympathy and trust, she will trigger you and your need to save the day and your specific heroism complex, and she will intentionally put her trauma on you and make you completely responsible for all of her past hurt. How does this look like? What is she trying to do? Essentially is setting up the bar so high that she's manipulating your needs to save, your needs of compassion, your needs to save the day, and your heroism complex and your empathetic tendencies in order to ensure that you prove to her you're different from everyone else, from all of the other people that has caused her trauma, that has caused her pain. Okay? And this cycle is used to entrench you completely in your own value as a man. And it's that it's completely in need of her validation and approval of you. So your value as a man is completely entrenched and connected to how much she disapproves or approves you. And that's called love bombing. She'll do it by giving you everything that you've ever wanted in the beginning, and then slowly telling you how you're not like you were before, right? Or that you're not like everyone, you're just like every single person in the past that she's dealt with that has caused her pain. Number 2, she picks fights with you. And how does this look like? So everything may seem fine. You're fine one day. But what a covert narcissistic woman will do is she will start picking fights with you. She will question your tonality or your gaze suddenly, or how you looked at her, and start questioning your mood. Why are you using your tone with me like that? Is everything okay with you out there? Are you okay? When nothing was actually going on and you were feeling nothing as a man and you weren't actually angry, her constant questioning and attacking of your sanity and your small micro verbal and non-verbal tones and expressions now have made you angry, right? It has made you angry because she's questioning that. This is all done with the intention of getting you angry behaviorally so she can use that against you, make you beg her to find out what she saw, what she perceived, what she felt when you looked at her a certain way. And now what you're dealt with is you're walking on eggshells, and even your facial expressions and the tonality of the words that you're choosing to use is wrong. Number 3, she gets super, super defensive. And this is how it shows up. She will either choose to deflect or be completely defensive whenever you bring issues up. She won't answer your questions directly, or she'll derail it back to you. And how this looks like is how hurtful the delivery of what you said, or the questions that you ask, or the issues that you brought up was to her. That the issues are hurtful to her. Okay? The way you bring it up is not nice, or the delivery needs a lot of work, which leads you to apologizing for things that aren't related to the issues and why you even brought up the conversation to begin with. What happens is the issues never get solved, the conversations end up going nowhere, and you're finding yourself apologizing for something you didn't do, right? Afterwards, you realize that the issues you brought up were deflected and never solved. You find yourself more and more confused about your own perceptions of reality, hence gaslighting, and you feel yourself shutting down and really scared to bring future issues up in the future, right? Or current or future issues up in the future, because it's never going to get solved and you're always going to be the blame, and you start believing that. Number 4, there's zero empathy. When you're vulnerable, maybe you've cried and expressed your feelings, your needs, and your frustration. Simply put, she's not fazed by this. She doesn't care. She sees this as a sign of weakness, or that you're overreacting. If you told her about your fears or your traumas that you've had, she'll use it against you and tell you that your current behaviors and the reactions that you're exuding to any relationship issues or conflicts that's happening right now, or any emotional reaction to any conflicts right now, is because you're broken and unhealed and because of your trauma. So she uses your trauma against you to say that you're weak, okay? So there's zero empathy. Number 5, she will compare you to others. So it sounds like this. After the love bombing and everything, she'll start feeding in things like, oh, so-and-so's boyfriend is so good to her girlfriend, right? How they are living such a beautiful life. The intention of this is to make you feel that you're never enough. What you're doing is never enough. And whatever you've done in the past and currently is not up to her standards. And that other partners and all of her other girlfriends have exactly what her dreams were supposed to be. This is meant to obviously trigger a man's competitive nature and heroism complex and make you try harder and harder. Honestly, guys, you're not meant to win in this competition, because the intention is to constantly move the goalpost and keep you wanting to conquer her more, okay? More and more. Please be aware of this. The goalpost never ends when she's comparing you to others. She's always going to compare in order to get you to keep working. Number 6, and this is the very last one, and the huge one I need you to ask yourself whether or not this has happened or not. Your self-respect is completely lost, okay? You're completely lost as a human being, as a man, and as a person on this earth. You're staring back at yourself in the mirror, and you're really starting to believe everything that she has ever said about you. You're starting to see the villain that she has painted you out to be in her story, in the relationship, and your own story, and that you're really lucky that she's even staying around. You're starting to believe this, that you are this terrible person that she's narrated you to be, right? And that you, again, very lucky to have her around. You feel like an intruder of your own body, and your sense of identity is not only completely lost, it's completely shattered. You don't even think you were the person that you were before anymore. Was that even you? Right? That's what it's meant to do. Okay? Why a female covert narcissist will do this, and if you feel like this, the intention of her trying to decrease your self-respect and make you feel completely lost and attached to her verbal validations of you and disapproval and approval is essentially that when you're completely at your worst, you are the most vulnerable. When someone is completely at their worst, you're at your most vulnerable and you're the easiest to control, okay? When she needs to control you, she needs you to be completely reliant on her. And in order to do that, she needs to control every single movement, thought process that you have from the day you wake up to the day you act, okay? Any behaviors from the time you wake up. I hope that this video brought you a couple of signs and scenarios in which you should genuinely look out for, because what all of these signs can do in combination in any relationship is cause a false sense of reality and obviously gaslighting. And the continuous cyclical cycle of being gaslit by someone not only makes your mental health plummet as a man, you lose your identity completely, okay? So if you find yourself in this type of relationship, please start the conversation, look for help, comment down below if what your story is. And please, 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 guys, very lastly, do ask for help, okay? I made a video last week on what you should look out for when you're genuinely looking for a therapist who's going to help you through really hard life trials, not just a man who's going to essentially be there for you. Listen, hey bro, I get it, right? How do we actually get yourself out of a really horrible situation and give you clarity and solutions and action-oriented directions for you to better improve your life in a faster pace? Please click on that video right here, okay? Because that one's going to be very important for you to understand. If you find yourself in a situation like this and you want to get yourself out of it, I genuinely believe, a coach, a therapist, a mentor, someone who's going to bring you out, teach you the tools in which you need to win in life. Let's say a soccer coach teaches you how to play soccer. It's important that you understand finding a good therapist who is understanding and aware and acknowledges the issues that you're going through and knows how to eradicate it would be really helpful for your mental health as a man. So thank you guys. I do love you guys all, and I'm sorry this is happening to you. Please look for help and comment down below if this was helpful. Bye, guys.
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG where we post daily and YouTube where we post weekly.